Hey everybody, it's Paul from Fat Guy Productions coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, it is a spectacular day here in Las Vegas. Fall has taken hold. We have great weather. What could be better than being at the workbench? I have an order for a Morgan Silver Dollar coin ring, size 14 in gold powder coating, and I'm going to take you along with me as I make it. Let's get to it. Alright, I begin the process by picking out an appropriate coin for the project. In this case, a Morgan Silver Dollar. For a powder-coated ring, I'm looking for one with a really nice detail to make the sanding at the end much easier. I always do the first annealing right out of the gate. I put a mark on the coin with a Sharpie. As I heat the coin, the mark will dissolve, and when it goes away, I know I've annealed enough without ruining the coin. Some people will tell you that quenching will harden the metal. This is not true for silver, so go ahead and quench away. Now I'll punch a hole in the center of the coin. This is going to be a large ring, size 14, so to keep a lot of metal available for me to work with, I'll punch a rather small hole. Here I'm using a specialized centering punch made by Jason's Works. You can find his excellent products on his Etsy store. The two biggest secrets to successful coin ring making are, first, to anneal often. If you think it's time to anneal, it's probably already past time to anneal. Second, take very good care of the cut edge. I always use this deburring tool to clean the edge up, and I sand the edge frequently. You cannot take care of it enough. Micro cracks will split your ring and ruin your project in a second. On all my rings, I begin by making the first fold using a stainless steel starting cone. This is the toughest fold to make, and I need a little extra oomph. The stainless steel cone is perfect for this. Again, annealing and caring for the cut edge of the coin are crucial to a successful project. You can't sand and file the edge enough. Always make sure it's nice and smooth. Remember, if you think it's time to anneal, you're probably already too late. Anneal, anneal, anneal. After the initial fold made with the stainless steel starting cone, all the rest will be made with Deburring cones made by Neil Pippett. You can find his stuff on his Etsy store as well. Deburring is soft enough that it won't destroy your coin, but hard enough that the folds go great.
And did I mention annealing? Well, if I didn't, let me mention it here. Even if you didn't need to do it this much, why wouldn't you? It's really fun. It's the best part of making coin rings, especially the quenching. I always thought it was odd that we tried to square up our rings from the outside working in. That seemed counterintuitive to me. I had the idea that we should try to square them up from the inside. So I mentioned this to Neil Pippett, and these are his straightening cones. He came up with a fantastic cone that works really great at giving you straight sidewalls to your coins. Straight sidewalls are crucial to getting a good looking ring. While I never anneal without using a Sharpie mark, you can also look at the coin as you're annealing. When you start to see orange flames coming off of the coin, you know it's time to stop. Here I am, finishing up straightening out the sides of the coin using a slightly larger straightening cone from Neil Pippett. This will give me a really great place to start and get the coin looking the way I want it to. As I said, this is going to be a large ring at a size 14. That means I'm really stretching the heck out of this coin. You cannot anneal and sand enough on the edges. If you overlook this part, you are going to split the ring in half and ruin your project, especially when you're trying to make bigger rings. Alright, so far I'm happy with the way the ring is coming out, but now I want to bring in the reeded edge of the coin just a little bit to get things squared up the rest of the way. For this, I'm going to use a Swedish wrap technique and Swedish wrap dies from Jason's Works. As I mentioned, this is a big ring, so I'm not going to go all the way through the Swedish wrap. It will make it too small. But a couple passes down into the die ought to get things squared up and just about where I want it, so I can put a little bow into it and finish it up. Alright, I'm really happy with the way things are working out, and now it's time to hone in on the size. For that, I'll use the ring stretcher. Normally, you should have your ring stretcher bolted down. I'm just too stupid to have it that way yet, especially having just cleaned up my whole work area. Getting it bolted down is soon to happen. It'll be a lot safer and a lot easier to work with. You'll be very surprised how quickly you'll get to the right size, so keep an eye on it. Measure the size frequently, or you're going to shoot right past it. With the ring shaped and sized, I'll now take some steel wool to it and get it cleaned up and ready to take on a nice layer of powder coating. I begin by getting a nice clump of 4/0 steel wool and working the ring over inside, out, top, bottom, left, right, any other which way you can think of. I've gone over the ring thoroughly with the steel wool, and now I'll take my specially treated silicone plug and fill the center of the coin. I've used a couple strands of heavy gauge copper wire run through the plug. These will act as a hanger and a contact point for the powder coating system. With the ring on the silicone plug, I can now take to masking off the areas I don't want powder coat to get to using high heat tape. I always mask off the reeded edge of the ring and the wings. You'll notice that I'm now wearing gloves, as I no longer want to put fingerprints and oils on the ring. I'll use a little bit of alcohol and wipe the ring down to make sure I have a nice clean surface for the powder coating. I'll give the ring a quick pass through the oven just to dry off any remaining alcohol or oils or liquids or anything else that may hinder the powder coating. I connect a charged brush to an Eastwood dual voltage system to apply the powder coating to the ring. I love this part. I trigger the system and the powder literally jumps off the brush and over onto the ring. It's kind of fascinating to watch. If it's not jumping across very well, tap the brush lightly with your finger or load up some more powder into the brush. This is my favorite part of the entire process. I love watching the powder jump across. Make sure you get a nice, good coverage on the ring, because you're not really going to want to go back at this point. Different powder coat powders will need different things. The powders I'm using need to be flowed out, so I'm going to run them through the oven for about 5 minutes or so at 400 degrees, just enough to get the powder to liquefy. Right about here you can see the powder is changing as it gets darker and becomes a liquid. This is just flowing the powder out. The ring will still need to be cured, but I'll do that after the sanding. That'll make the sanding go a little bit easier. I try to remove off the tape while the ring is still relatively warm. I don't like to do it after it's cooled off too much. Now it's time for the tedious and delicate task of sanding off the unwanted powder coat. This is the home run right here. If you do it too much, you're going to sand right through it because we're talking about a very, very thin layer of powder coating. You must be very, very delicate and very, very precise. After I give it just a quick once over, I then use the edges of the sanding sponge and focus on every letter, one letter at a time. I make sure I pay attention to the details and don't go any further than I absolutely have to. Here we are in the home stretch. I'm going to cure the ring now. I'll put this ring back in the oven. I'll set it at 350 degrees and I'll cook it for about 15 to 20 minutes.
Hey Siri.
It's important you follow the instructions on the powder you're using. If you don't heat it enough, it will be too soft and it will come off. If you go too far, it can discolor. So make sure you're following the instructions that come with the powder that you're using. Once the ring is cured, it's a simple matter of polishing the ring and sealing it with some Renaissance wax. The ring is done, and I can now ship it out to, hopefully, a very happy customer.
All right, everybody, that should just about do it. We're going to get that ring off to my customer, and I really hope they love it. As usual, I'm going to ask you, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe. Be sure to ask any questions, make any comments you have. I always try to answer you. Again, Morgan Silver Dollar in gold powder coating should be ahead. All right, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions. I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, be good.